Srimad Govinda Swami Śrīla Gurudev ki Jai Krishna Paramahamsa Parivrajakacha Srimad His Divine Grace Śrīla Hṛṣīkeśa Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai Krishna Paramahamsa Parivrajakacha Srimad His Divine Grace Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Śrīla Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki Gyanasikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Śrīvasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Mukund Radhakund Giri Govardhana ki Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki Shri Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham ki Ganga Mai ki, Jamuna Mai ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Tulasi Maharani ki, Shri Gaura ki, Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Jagannath Baladev, Lady Subhadra Devis ki, Shri Radha Gopinath ki, Shri Radha Gopal Ju ki, Shri Radha Madhava ki, Premanam Sankirtan Jagya ki, Jai Shri Radha Madhava ki, Gantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Vajradaya Shabada Gauranga. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya. Namaste, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Śrīvasadi Śrī Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. You guys are fired up tonight. That's a good sign. Was it real? Were you keeping it real? I hope so. Sounded it. You're sweating. Transcendental sauna. Body, mind, and soul. Therapy. You don't have to join the gymnasium. You don't have to take yoga classes with him anymore. You just come here, chant, dance, you get good exercise, bhakti. So I was reading today, Srila Prabhupada, he was speaking about the mind. We've been quoting from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, discussing about how to somehow or other purify, control this crazy mind and senses. And all of the yoga practices, how to purify, control the mind. So mind is the center point of yoga. Everyone's going to psychiatrists, psychologists, taking medication, intoxication, how to somehow purify, calm down, slow down, pacify, disturb the mind and senses. But it's designed in material world, material body, to be disturbing. So we're trying to undisturb something which is designed to be disturbing. So without surrendering to Krishna, there's no question of purifying and controlling the mad mind. That's the whole point. We're trying to do every other thing, tortured by the mind, disturbance, anxiety, no happiness, because of the mind, because of the gross subtle body. And it says even all the bodily ailments, every problem that we have, ultimately it's starting from the subtle platform, from the mind. And then because it's so disturbed in the mind, then it's also branching out into sinful activities, and then we're not living a healthy way of life, and then so much anxiety is there, it's coming cancer, and all these other kind of diseases are manifesting because the body also cannot digest the stress and the anxiety and the worry, right? Burning 24/7 unless you're sleeping or heavily intoxicated. Otherwise it's always disturbed. So I was reading today, Prabhupada was talking about Hare Krishna, where he's talking about this mind, and it's a very interesting statements from Srila Prabhupada, and I thought we could discuss a little bit some of those points. Amara, you look tortured by the mind. So Prabhupada speaking January 4th, 1975, Bombay, India. And he was speaking on one Srimad Bhagavatam verse, 3rd Canto, 26, chapter 27. So in that discussion, the verse was that from the false ego of goodness, another transformation takes place. And from this evolves the mind, whose thoughts and reflection give rise to desire. So how the mind is coming from this false ego, and then how it's evolving up or down is determining our thoughts and our desires. If we're purifying and elevating, spiritual thoughts, spiritual desires. If we're contaminating and degrading, materialistic thoughts and degradation. So in this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, I'll just quickly read that verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam. So again, that verse Prabhupada is referring to, it says that from the false ego of goodness, another transformation takes place, and from this evolves the mind, whose thoughts and reflections, they give rise to desire. So whatever we're thinking about, that is creating the desire, whether spiritual or material. And in this purport, Srila Prabhupada explained that the symptoms of the mind are determination and rejection. So basically hankering, determined to do or get something, and then rejecting. So accepting what we think is for sense gratification, and rejecting that which we think is not for our sense gratification. So the nature of the mind is it's determined, hankering for something, spiritual or material, or it's rejecting it because somehow we're thinking it's not going to give us either spiritual benefit or material benefit. So either way, we're hankering and rejecting. This is a symptom of the mind. And that, Prabhupada says, is due to different kinds of desires, either spiritual or material. So we desire that which is favorable to our sense gratification, and we reject that which is not favorable to our sense gratification. So if it's for our sense gratification, we're like, yeah. If it's not for our sense gratification, we're like, oh, I'm not into that, I'm not interested in that, that will be difficult, that will be, right? So we're rejecting that which is not favorable to our sense gratification. So the material mind is not fixed. We're trying to fix it, but it's designed, the material mind is designed not to be fixed. It's chanchala. the very same mind can be fixed only when we seriously engage in activities of Krishna consciousness. So if we surrender to Krishna, serious engagement in devotional service, then Krishna will purify, control the mind and the senses. If we don't use that intelligence to keep our mind and senses engaged in devotional activity, then it's accepting and rejecting on material false ego platform. So the mind, material mind, is not fixed and cannot be fixed. But the very same mind can be fixed when it's seriously engaged in activities of Krishna consciousness. So Krishna says your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. So if we don't engage it in devotional service for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, then it's acting not fixed, means accepting and rejecting our material sensory platform, which is the root of the problem. Otherwise, Prabhupada says, as long as your mind is on the material platform and it's hovering there, accepting and rejecting, all of that accepting and rejecting is asat. It's all temporary. So we said Krishna, Krishna Parampara, Shastra, that's absolute, fixed, absolute sat knowledge. Everything else is asat. Everything else is material, false ego, accepting, rejecting, on material platform is all asat, means temporary. It is stated, Prabhupada says, that he whose mind is not fixed in Krishna consciousness, not accepting Krishna's instruction, it's forced to hover between acceptance and rejection. Accepting and rejecting, accepting and it's just hovering back and forth, accepting and rejecting on material false ego platform, asat. However advanced a man is in academic qualifications, as long as he is not fixed in Krishna consciousness, he will also simply accept and reject, and will never be able to fix his mind on a particular subject matter. Because the mind, asat, material mind, is meant to be chanchal. It's not fixed. We're not peaceful because the mind's not fixed. And unless you surrender to Krishna, that's the only way Krishna purifies, controls the mind. Without that, the mind is working as worst enemy because it's accepting and rejecting on sinful platform. Planning, thinking, feeling, willing towards sinful activity, which is actually what is always putting us into anxiety and trouble. So if we choose not to fix it in devotional service where Krishna controls, purifies mind and senses, then automatically false ego, asat, maya platform, accepting, rejecting, chanchalam, not fixed, means no peace. No peace means no happiness. So that was the purport from the verse, and then Srila Prabhupada is speaking in this class. The AC is on? Can you... This AC is killing me. His body, right? It's getting not too cold, not too hot. We're trying to regulate the body. We're trying to regulate the mind. You know, to like the perfect chemical balance, lifestyle balance, all around how to keep your body as peaceful as possible, not too much stress, not too little stress, right? Mind not so disturbed, right? So we're just basically stuck in the middle where the body and the mind is all over the place in the modes of nature, and we're just trying somehow or other to control this mind and this body and the situation and the environment and the association and the activities to keep it as peaceful and happy as possible. But without surrendering to Krishna, there's no way to control any of that. That's why we get so frustrated. That's why we're all control freaks. Because everybody is trying to say, okay, I know my body and mind needs to be reasonably peaceful and happy. So everyone's trying to do that at exactly the same time. Okay? And Adam's like, look, I need you all to do this for my mind and my body to be peaceful. And then Sanatana's like, but I need things to go in this way so that my mind and my body will be peaceful and fixed. Right? And then he's thinking, hey, you guys, I need you guys to cooperate. Right? So we're all just trying to like control the whole environment and everybody's mind and senses and bodies so that it somehow minimizes our stress and mental disturbance, isn't it? That's where the problem is. And at the same time, we're competing with Krishna. So we're all competing with Krishna. We're trying to control everything else to keep our body and mind as balanced as possible in a world which is totally unbalanced. Isn't it?
That's great.
So Prabhupada's saying that this mind is material because it's the product of the transformation of the modes of goodness. Hare Krishna. Then gradually, being contaminated by different kinds of asatsanga with developing materialistic desires. So the soul is pure, then mode of goodness, the mind is there, then we're taking that mind and putting it into asatsanga, more degraded association, means more degraded materialistic desires, sinful desires. In this way we're degrading from the soul platform, from mode of goodness, by asatsanga, material desires, sinful desires, now mode of passion, and then now more and more mode of passion, more and more bad association, more and more material desire, now ignorance. So in this way we're degrading ourselves because of the asatsanga, and the contamination that's coming from the asatsanga is what's creating the different qualities or different types or kinds of materialistic desire. So Prabhupada says, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajaguna, Samudbhavam, from Bhagavad Gita 337. Don't you hate flies? Flies are like so annoying, right? But can we control them? When you're trying to eat and the flies are like, they're landing in the stool and then they're jumping on your prasad or your, right, and then you're trying to eat, right? Is that nice? It's hard. Yeah. Proving my point, right? So we need to control the flies, the mosquitoes, the other living entities. Everyone should cooperate. Okay? Sit down, enjoy spiritually. Oh no, you're going to start speaking, you're going to translate? He's coming over for translation? Can you handle it? He can understand me, right? How much do you understand?
40-50%.
40%. And then when he translates, it's like 20%. And then he goes from his 60% down to 40%. So when it's deteriorated, Prabhupada's talking, from the standard of goodness, it comes to Rajagun. And Rajagun means lusty desires. unending desires. So lust and greed, right, is coming from Rajagun. And then if the desires are not fulfilled, then we are frustrated and ultimately krodha, anger. Then we become angry. So when you're trying to control everything and they don't cooperate with your desire, then you get angry, right? Then you become a maniac. So everything becomes this, how does Prabhupada say? In this way, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, matsaya, lust, anger, greed, illusion, enviousness. All of these things become prominent and we become servant of all of these different propensities. This is due to the mind. We're forced. Because of our satsanga, under material modes of nature, we're developing materialistic thoughts, materialistic desires, materialistic attachments. This is throwing us into more and more illusion, and in this way degrading the mind by the asatsanga. So the business of the mind, Prabhupada says, is sankalpa, vikalpa. Sankalpa and vikalpa. Sankalpa means decide to do something. So the mind is always making a plan, always hankering after something, always deciding how to do something. And then vikalpa means how to reject it. So when it's not working, we're trying to reject it. So we're hankering, making a plan how to accept something, or we're rejecting it, how to get out of it when it's the root or cause of our suffering condition, when there's no longer sense gratification. So this is the activity, the function of the material mind is sankalpa, vikalpa, deciding to do something, to plan to do something, hankering to do something, we're always plan making, and then when it's not working, we're going according to our estimation, or hope or desire, then we're backpedaling and we're trying to reject it and get out of it, and we're doing crisis management, and how to reject it. So Prabhupada said that is the business of the material mind. If you study your mind, that's what it's doing. It's plan making into the future, or it's lamenting and trying to reject previous bad plans or decisions. That's all it's doing. That's the function of the mind. So everybody, although the mind is constantly deciding to do something, making a plan, projecting, and then rejecting, accepting and rejecting when not working, that's the business of the mind. But although the mind is engaged, everybody's mind is engaged like that, Prabhupada said everyone in the middle of that is actually desiring peacefulness for their mind. So mind is so disturbed, but we want the mind to be peaceful.
Yes.
But the material mind, the nature is sankalpa, vikalpa. It's restlessness. So material mind, because ultimately it's Maya is there. You don't want to surrender to Krishna? Okay, I'll put plans, it'll blow up, it'll be source of your suffering, and then you'll be trying to reject the plans. But basically material mind, the sitting place is of Maya, is in that mind. So it's accepting and rejecting. We want the mind to be peaceful, but the very nature of material mind means it's restless. You cannot keep it fixed. You get a moment of peace or so-called peace, and like, okay, and then the next second it's gone. You can't hold on to it. Because the nature of that material mind is it's always accepting, planning, or rejecting, lamenting and rejecting. So Prabhupada says you cannot fix up the mind. You can't fix up the mind and make it steady materially. Prabhupada says, so if you can control the senses by yoga, yogic, mystic yoga. Are you a mystic yogi? No? You're just an ordinary hatha, ordinary, not mystic. So if you can control the senses by yogic, mystic process, that's mechanical process. How to control your mind mechanically by your own intelligence, your own strength, physical strength. Then somehow by doing that, then you'll be placed in some type of spiritual status that you can do that. If you can control mechanically, then somehow you can reach to understand spiritual topic. That's a yoga system. Prabhupada said the yoga system is recommended to persons whose minds are very restless. Everyone's mind, especially in Kali Yuga, is completely restless, disturbed, always disturbed. It's one of the symptoms of material consciousness and Maya, Kali Yuga, mind always disturbed. We're always misunderstanding everything because not the good intelligence. So we're misunderstanding, that's creating chaos, havoc, and then the mind is getting agitated and disturbed. So the mind is always restless, no peace. Prabhupada says no peace means no happiness. So everyone's mind is restless. Everyone's mind is restless. It says only pure devotee of Krishna can be peaceful. Everyone else, karmi, jnani, yogi, because it's not fixed on Krishna in devotional service, there is no peace. Because Krishna will not purify and control your mind for you. Without surrendering to Krishna, Hṛṣīkeśa, he won't do it. Then, now it's on you. And then if you're not a mystic yogi, what chance do you have to purify and control the restless mind? So everyone's mind is very restless, very disturbed, no peace. Prabhupada says no peace, no happiness. Prabhupada said everyone wants to be peaceful, everyone wants a peaceful mind, everybody wants to be happy. But Prabhupada said, but you don't know how to do it. You're thinking that by your strength, your intelligence, your power, your thoughtfulness, that you can purify, control your mind and your senses. This is the illusion, and out of pride and false ego, we think we can do it. But it's not possible without genuine surrender to Krishna, where Krishna takes control, purifies the mind and the senses. That's why it says only Vaishnava, only pure devotee of Krishna can really find peace and happiness with Krishna, because Krishna is giving shelter, protection, purification, and control of mind and senses. So it is very difficult to bring your mind into a peaceful status. As long as we have desires, attraction, desires, as long as there's material desires, the mind will be restless. As long as the Prabhupada says, as long as the desires are there, it is not possible to bring the mind into complete peace and tranquility. So as long as those material sinful desires, attraction, attachment is there, then Krishna says, now your intelligence is many-branched. So your resolute determination to surrender to Krishna, to surrender to Hṛṣīkeśa, master of mind and senses, it does not manifest. So as long as we're maintaining these materialistic desires, sinful desires, material attachment on bodily platform, it is not possible, Prabhupada says, to bring your mind into a state of complete peace and tranquility. It is not at all possible, Prabhupada says, because that material mind is sankalpa vikalpa. It's always planning, always projecting for happiness, sense enjoyment, some plan. If I just go here, if I just get this, if I'm just with this person, if I can get this job, if I can get this money, if I can, right? It's always making some plan, projecting. And then we're not doing, can't get it, then we're lamenting. Or we got it, and it's a disaster, and then we're like, oh, let me reject this one. This is not good. So accepting, rejecting. Sankalpa, vikalpa. So Prabhupada says, as long as you have these desires, it is not possible to bring your mind under control. And Prabhupada says, everyone wants a peaceful mind. Everyone wants a peaceful, healthy body and mind. Nobody can deny that. But as long as we have the material desires, we are forced to live with the mind which is chanchala, it's flickering in asat, on material platform, accepting, rejecting, plan making, rejecting. That's all it's doing. That means there's no peace, no tranquility, because of the material desires, sinful desires. So devotee means, how do you purify and get free from sinful thoughts, sinful plans, sinful desires, materialistic desires? How do you purify those desires? Because without purified desire, without making it spiritual desire, those material desires will constantly keep you on accepting, rejecting material, mental platform, which is very disturbing, never satisfying, therefore no peace, no happiness. So Prabhupada said the whole problem is the mind. It can be your best friend if it's purified and controlled properly in Krishna consciousness by Krishna's mercy. And if you're not accepting that, then automatically you're handed over to Maya. Maya takes control of your mind, puts all the material desires, material thoughts, material plans, and then we start saying, oh, that sounds interesting. And then we start plan making, how to do it, what to do, thinking, feeling, willing. And once again, disturbed mind, chanchala mind, accepting, rejecting, means no peace because of the desires. So my Guru said, you can't hear Krishna, you can't hear Guru, because your mind is stolen by illusion. Because you're thinking about your wife, your husband, your children, your mother, your father, your material relations, friendships, material assets, objects of sense gratification, because so bewildered by all of these things. Then Krishna says on material, bodily, falsico platform, you can't hear me. So if we don't get good higher authority and instructions from Krishna, there's no way to fix mind and senses in those instructions for the pleasure of Guru Krishna, Hṛṣīkeśa, master of mind and senses, then what happens? We're left with this mind, which is tucca, agitating, disturbing, and trying to control. No, it's not good to think like that. This is not good, definitely it won't work. But still forced, without surrendering to Krishna, forced to think about it, forced to be disturbed, and then not getting frustrated, angry, agitated, because unfulfilled material desire, unfulfilled lust, then we get frustrated, we get angry. This is the root of the problem. So Prabhupada saying that even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kaviraj Goswami, even persons who are very pious persons, who are acting very piously, and those who are impious, those who are acting sinfully, either way, there's no question of peace of mind. It's not possible on material platform. Even those who are acting very piously, not even sinfully, piously, even that is not possible for them to have peace of mind. What to speak of if we're thinking, feeling, and willing towards sinful thoughts and sinful activities? No question of peace of mind. And Prabhupada said, no peace of mind, no tranquility, there's no happiness. Just agitation, disturbance, unfulfilled desire, frustration, anger, lamentation, anxiety. That's material platform. So no peace of mind. So then those who are desiring to try to stop all of their material activities by their own strength, intelligence, okay, I just won't think like that, I won't do like this, pious or impious, without surrender to Krishna, they also cannot control their minds. And that's why this is the point where we cannot cheat Krishna. Because we could sentimentally try to convince ourselves that we're devotee, we're engaged in devotional service, we're surrendered to Krishna. But the test is, how strong are our material desires? Because if we really are surrendered to Krishna, Krishna says, I'll destroy your sinful desires, your material desires, and your sinful reactions, which means all your disturbance and suffering and anxiety. Krishna says, if you surrender to me, I'll purify it, I'll destroy it for you. So this is where Prabhupada said, you judge the thing by the result. So if we are just thinking, well, I'm completely surrendered to Krishna, and I have so much faith in Krishna, and I'm so sincere, and I'm so serious, okay, I'm not your judge. Krishna's the judge, and he'll say whether it's genuine enough or not. So Prabhupada said, if your material desires are not going away, and it's harassing you and disturbing you, that means that's a sign that you're not surrendered to Krishna wholeheartedly, seriously. Because if we really were begging Krishna to give shelter, to get freedom from material desires, sinful desires, material attachment, then Krishna would purify the strength of those desires. Prabhupada says it's just like a serpent. Mind and senses like serpent. And you punch out the fangs. Then it may go, but it's not so strong and it can't kill you. So something might be there, but it's like it's manageable. not disturbing. You just, oh, okay, I got to surrender to Krishna and do my service. But without Krishna's mercy, Guru's mercy, without serious execution of devotional service, there's no way to purify the strength of those material desires, material attachments, sinful thoughts, sinful desires. And then if we're not able to do that, then Krishna will not give shelter. He'll not purify mind and senses. Then you come under Maya. And Maya will just repeatedly harass you, haunt you, like a ghost. And then she tries to dress it up like it's spiritual, somehow. And then we'll say, yes, I'm getting confirmation because it's coming again and again and again. Okay. How spiritual is it? And then if it's super spiritual, wake up. If it's spiritual, pray to Gunita, wake up, Jeev Jago, alright? Then, Prabhupada said you judge the result by the results. Hare Krishna Mata. We've been talking so many recently about the mind and focusing the mind internally and trying to find peace and tranquility. Krishna says, in me, with me. But the problem is this mind is very chachalam, very flickering, very disturbing because it's being controlled by Maya. And then Prabhupada says, then you have the yogis, those ones who are doing karma yoga, they're doing pious activities, worshipping demigods, doing yajnas, doing all of this pious, how to somehow purify, control mind and senses. Then you have the jnanis, by their austerities, cultivation of knowledge. They are also trying to control their mind and senses without surrendering to Krishna. They also cannot control their minds. Yogis, great yogis, stories are there, very powerful yogis, 60,000 years in the water. Right, Subari Muni was it? So there are all these great mystic yogis, ultimately, without surrendering to Krishna. You can't go in the water and say, I'm just going to avoid Maya. There'll be no Maya down there. And then two fish are having sex and like, ah. So as long as you're in the material world, you can't escape it. There's nowhere to go. It's everywhere, right? The whole world is running on sex desire, Prabhupada said. So, without surrendering to Krishna, Hṛṣīkeśa, master of mind and senses, there's no way to purify and control this mind. There's no way to bring the mind under control. So even siddhi kami, siddhi yogis, great mystic yogis, they also cannot control their mind. What to speak of ordinary man, just an ordinary person who is neither interested in pious activities or mukti, or liberation, or yogic perfection. Right? So we're not even karmis, jnanis, and yogis. We're like nothing. Right? At least they're trying to somehow purify, control their mind and senses. So we don't even fit into those categories. Right? So they can't do it. They can't purify and control their mind and senses. So Prabhupada said, what will an ordinary person do who has no good intelligence, misunderstands practically everything, lazy, foolish, no qualification, misguided. He wants me to say misguided. Because he's misguided. He's misguided. So that's ordinary man in the Kali Yuga. So when Krishna was advising Arjuna to practice yoga for controlling his mind in the 6th chapter, which we were reading yesterday, the 6th chapter about controlling the mind, Arjuna, he refused. He couldn't accept it. Right? We're hearing how to control the mind and senses. We're like, this is not even possible. This is like a pipe dream, you know? It's a, what does it even mean? And he's saying, what does it even mean to focus your mind on the heart or the super soul? This is like a, what to speak about doing it, right? So even Arjuna said, Prabhupada said, Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, you are advising me to control my mind by practicing yoga, but I have no such opportunity because I'm a family man, I'm a politician, I'm from a royal family, I have to see to so many things in the administration of my kingdom and my family. And besides that, in the family life, I have to seek from my material interests. So how, in the midst of all of that, how will it be possible for me to control the mind? And then he flatly said to Krishna, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavadritam tasyaham nigaham manye vayur eva sudushkaram. My dear Krishna, I think this mind is very, very restless, wicked, restless. As a madman is always restless. Madman, always restless. Coming, going, accepting, rejecting, accepting, rejecting. So he says, as a madman is always restless and very strong. I want to control the mind. So he knows the mind's a problem. He wants to control the mind, but Arjuna is telling, but it just does not come under control. I cannot do it. This is my position. Therefore, you're asking me that I should control my mind. But I think what you're asking is that it's more difficult than controlling the wind. So Prabhupada says, suppose there's a very strong wind, like cyclone. So if you want to stop it, it's not possible. So similarly, Arjuna has compared his mind with the speed of a cyclone. That's the reality. And we're like, I'm just trying to control my mind. Good luck. Without surrendering to Krishna, good luck. Arjuna has compared the mind with the speed of the cyclone. So how is it to be controlled? So he admitted it's impossible. He denied it. It's not possible for me to control my mind and senses. He admits his defeat. But Krishna said, Prabhupada said, just to encourage Arjuna, he said he should not be disappointed that he could not control his mind. Don't be disappointed. But still, because the mind was always engaged and lotus feet of Krishna, he is best of all yogis. So yeah, okay, you cannot control, but if you engage your mind in serving Krishna, then Krishna will purify, control your mind and senses for you. It'll help you. Otherwise, not possible. So he encouraged Arjuna, don't be disappointed because your mind is always engaged in me. Arjuna, he might be anything, Prabhupada says, but he was always thinking of Krishna. He was always associating with Krishna. He did not know anything else but Krishna. And that is the position of first-class yogi. Are you first-class yogi? Only Krishna. Otherwise, if you try to control your mind from lust and anger and greed and illusion and enviousness or jealousy, it is not at all possible. You just have to change the position of such activities. So Narottam Das Thakur, he says that Kama Sambhava, Kama means desire, so your mind is very restless. It's always desiring something. So the best policy to control your mind is to desire how to spread Krishna consciousness. So give it a higher desire. You can't kill desire. Engage it, desire, how to become Krishna consciousness and how to spread Krishna consciousness, how to help the preaching mission of Krishna consciousness. Kama, Krishna, Kamarpane, from Prema Bhakti Chandrika. He says, I will engage my lust by offering the fruits of my work to Lord Krishna. I will engage my anger by directing it at those who are very envious of the Lord's devotees. I will engage my greed by becoming greedy to do sadhu sangha and hear Hṛṣīkeśa. By not attaining my worship of Lord Krishna, I will engage the quality of bewilderment. So he's saying my being bewildered means that I've not attained my goal of being Krishna conscious. And I will engage my madness by becoming mad how to glorify the transcendental glories and qualities of the Supreme Lord. So he's taking all of those materialistic qualities and desires and transforming it, or giving it a higher activity in and towards Krishna. All of them can be done like that. Anger, greed, lust, but not enviousness. This is the only thing that is like a nuclear waste. You can't do anything with it. You can't bury it, you can't send it into the space. It's just like an item that is like always toxic. So you can't bring that into Vaikuntha, your enviousness. Other thing you can purify and you can spiritualize, but not this enviousness. So he prayed that I will spiritualize these material qualities in and for the service of the Lord. That's the only way to purify them. Narottam Das Thakur said that you cannot be free from desire. You can't say, okay, don't desire that, don't desire this is not a good desire, don't desire this. You can't just always be not this, not that, not this, not that. You need a higher engagement for you have to have a better desires, higher desire. Don't think like that, don't do like that, not this, not that, right? You cannot kill desire. We just have to transform it. We have to spiritualize. We need a higher, more important, interesting, spiritual desire. And we get that by associating with sadhus, sadhguru, Vaishnavas. So they're giving us a higher plan, a higher desire, a transcendental plan, a transcendental desire. You can't kill desire. We just have to spiritualize it and engage intelligence, mind, senses in a transcendental spiritual activities in relationship to Krishna that automatically will purify these materialistic, sinful desires and qualities. So Narottam Das Thakur, he said, you cannot be free from desire. It's not possible. And even if you try to attempt that, it's useless. It's a useless attempt to not desire something. Some say that, okay, become desireless. Just become desireless. But Prabhupada said that is not at all possible. If I become desireless, I become dead. So long I'm a living entity, I must have some desire. You cannot stop it, you cannot check it. So desire must be there. But right now, Prabhupada says, present moment, you're desiring how you can become happy in the material world. How to acquire so much money, how to acquire this and that, how to get this, how to get that. That is material karma. So you're taxing your brain how to get this and that in material life, for so-called material happiness. But if you engage your intelligence, your mind, your intelligence, your senses in Krishna's service, how to spread Krishna consciousness and how to convince people about Krishna. If you're trying to always convince people about Krishna, you're also going to get convinced, isn't it? We're worried always about ourselves. I, me, mine. Total self-centered, self-absorption, meditating on I, me, and mine. But Mahaprabhu's movement is selfless. I mean, thinking about, worrying about the spiritual benefit of others. And Krishna says, if you can learn how to do that, then you will become very dear to me. So those persons who are trying to help other people to come to Krishna, Krishna says they become very dear to me. So Prabhupada said, this is how we're to be recognized. We're trying to be recognized in the material world. The pratishta. We want everybody to like us, everybody to respect us, everybody to worship us, right? But the real recognition should be spiritual. That Krishna, Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu's devotees, Sadhguru, Vaishnavas, they see that we're trying to help in the preaching mission, to help people, to convince people to give up their suffering condition by surrendering to Krishna, then you will be recognized by Krishna, by Mahaprabhu, by Mahaprabhu's devotees, and they'll shower mercy and blessings and grace on you automatically. Whatever you need spiritually, whatever benefit is available will automatically come to you. Prabhupada gives the example when you're fighting in the war on the front line, the whole country is a ration. They're putting some ration, some restriction, some austerity, but not for the fighters. They're getting everything. The best that that country has to offer, they're bringing out onto the front line. So Prabhupada said, if you become frontline worker and you're supporting the frontline workers, that's how to be recognized by Mahaprabhu, Krishna devotees. Then, okay, we may not be so dear, but we're trying to serve those who are very dear. We're trying to help them. So Prabhupada says, if you want to overcome your lust and your material desires, then engage your intelligence, your mind, your senses very actively, full time in preaching mission of Mahaprabhu, Krishna conscious movement. If you don't engage your intelligence, mind and senses for that, then we'll just be hovering on material, false ego, asat, mental platform, accepting and rejecting. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Hare Krishna. If you engage, Prabhupada says, if you engage in Krishna's service, how to spread Krishna consciousness, how to convince people about Krishna, how to take them to what is Krishna's desire. Savadam and Prityaja, Mamakam Sharanam Raja. And in this way, if you go on making plans for spreading Krishna consciousness, then automatically your mind will be purified and controlled. We need to be spiritual revolutionaries. Now we've gotten lazy. Now we're just hanging out in Mayapur with uncontrolled mind and senses, no peace, no happiness. Then, dangerous situation. So if anyone is making this plan, right? Krishna has a plan, Mahaprabhu has a plan, Sadhu Guru Vaishnavas have a plan. Make their plan our plan. Then it's perfect. Then it's spiritual, then it's purified. But if we don't accept their plan, then we have to accept Maya's plan. Everybody needs a plan for living. So who will direct that plan? Will it be Krishna, Sadhu Guru Vaishnava, Mahaprabhu, or will it be Maya? We're going to make a plan. We're going to follow some plan. The only question is, whose plan is it? So Prabhupada says, anyone who's making a plan, Prabhupada says, you see the whole world, everybody's making plans. All the big politicians, all the big politicians in the government, central government, there's so many planning commissions. Prabhupada says, perhaps every one of you, you were part of the planning commission. Everyone is in the planning commission department. What's the plan, man? For the last 20 years, they're just simply making plans. I got plans, man. A lot of plans. Big plans, Srinivas. Big plans. And yet, none of the plans have become successful. That's why I said, what are we proud about? We make all these plans, okay, big plans, and then we're not able to do anything. So what exactly is our claim to fame? Well, I'm an official plan maker. That's my service. It doesn't work, it won't work, but I'm good at it. Because I meditate on it day and night. Plans, plans, plans. What's the plan? What's your plan? For the last 20 years, simply making plans, and none of the plans have become successful. Prabhupada says every plan, and he's laughing, he's chuckling, he says every plan is unsuccessful. And then the end result, all they come after all the planning commission is 8 rupees a kilo of rice, your staple food. So the plan has come successful. All of the planning commissions, he's saying, just to bring, how much is the rice, a kilo of rice cost? So long as you're materially affected, materially contaminated, and making plans how to get out of it, the material nature of Maya is so strong that it will, every time, it will baffle all of your plans. So if every time you make a plan, Maya baffles it, makes it unsuccessful, at what point do we stop giving up that plan-making business? Like, how many times does it have to fail before we realize I need a better plan? I need a plan that's going to be successful, materially and spiritually. Because this is the nature of the mind, right? Plans, projection, state of restlessness. So it's impossible. Therefore, this sankalpa vikalpa, this accepting some plan and then rejecting the plan, this is going on perpetually, constantly. Making plans, rejecting plans. Are you living in the planning commission department? It's never fulfilled. No matter how much planning you're doing, it can never be fulfilled, and neither it will be fulfilled at any time. It's a temporary setback to my plan. Temporary setback. But we said the other day, we're in Maya, the plan is from Maya, we're associating with Maya, it's for Maya, and the end result is Maya. So why would you make a plan which is absolutely gonna fail? Why would you invest, if you're intelligent and wise, why would you invest in that plan if you know up front that it will never be fulfilled? It will never be successful at any time. And yet that's what we're doing. Maya's given us the plan, we're meditating on it day and night. It's never working out, we're rejecting it, then we're lamenting, how could I be so stupid? Then we're blaming everybody else. Why didn't you tell me that was a stupid idea? Why didn't you help me? Why didn't you give me a better plan? Prabhupada says here, from making the plan, sankalpa vikalpa, perpetually I'm giving up one kind of body and then I'm accepting another body. Then I'm giving up the residence of one planet and I'm going to the heavenly planet. So all of our plans is how do we change the body, bodily condition, how do we change the residence, how do we change the location. All the way up to, okay, maybe I'll go to the heavenly planets. So plan in the modes of goodness and passion and ignorance. There are different plans, different kinds of bodies, different residential quarters, different locations, different planets. Prabhupada says we have experience in Bombay. If one body is living in Bombay for 50 years, how many plans he has made and how many apartments has he changed? How many plans, how many apartments has he had? Deva, how many apartments have you had? Huh? How many plans? And even now he wants to change the apartment, right? He can't be, he needs a new plan, right? So in 50 years, how many different plans have you had? In 70 years, Robert, how many plans have you had?
Can't count.
How many apartments have you had?
A lot.
A few? And even still, Prabhupada says, the plan-making business is still going on. Everyone has their experience. So, as it is going on in this life, in the span of this one life, similarly, it's going on life after life. So this is not the first time we got into the planning business. Every life, we're doing the same activity with the material mind. That's why we think we're so good at it, because we've been doing it a long time. Even life after life, Prabhupada said, this plan-making business is going on. So the intelligent person, they should understand how to stop this unlimited plan-making business which never works and there is no real solution. So at what point do we say it's not working? It's never worked, it never will work, An intelligent person will understand, how do I stop this mental speculation and addiction to plan making? How do you stop this unlimited plan-making business which never works and there is never any solution? That intelligence, finally, is called Atato Brahma Jigyasa. That is life. When you come to that understanding, Atato Brahma Jigyasa, when one is inquisitive to know what is the broader plan, what is the big picture, what is the big plan, what is God's plan, what is Krishna's plan, right? When one is inquisitive to know what is the broader plan, what is the Brahman plan? What's the Brahman plan? What's the soul plan? So Brahman, it means the biggest plan. Where is the inquisitiveness to know the biggest plan? We're so narrow-minded, so kripana, miserly. We're not worrying about the bigger plan, the biggest plan, the Brahman plan. You awake?
Yeah.
All right. So the biggest plan, isn't this interesting how Prabhupada explains it? We had the technical breakdown, right? But Prabhupada's putting it in a language which makes us really understand what's really going on here. So the biggest plan, if anyone wants to understand that and becomes inquisitive for that plan, that is when real life begins. I'm alive. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. So an ordinary inquiry, he's talking about inquisitiveness or inquiry, jigyasa. What is the ordinary inquiry? What is the price of rice today? What is the situation of the strike? What is the situation of this and that? You can get from the newspaper, from anyone, some friend. This inquiry they're making. But where is the inquiry, Brahma Jigyasa, where is the inquiry of Brahman? Where is that inquisitiveness? And then, where shall you make this inquiry? Even if you came to realize what's the biggest plan, what is Brahman, what is Krishna, what is Krishna's plan. So where do you make the inquiry to understand about that biggest plan? Will you go to the stock market, exchange market, or the local market and inquire there about Brahman, Atato Brahma Jigyasa? So Prabhupada says in Mundaka Upanishad, Tat Vijnanatam Sagurum Eva Abhigachet. To understand these things, this subject matter properly, one must humbly approach with a firewood in your hand as humble servant, a spiritual master who is learned and realized in the Vedas and firmly devoted to the absolute truth. That's where we have to make that inquiry. Prabhupada said, this is the injunction of the Vedas. You must find out a guru. Samit pani shotyam brahmanishtam. Guru means Brahma Nishtam. That is the guru's qualification. And Shotyam, one who has heard from disciplic succession. He is a guru. And not anyone else. Not anyone magician. Prabhupada is a magician. One who's fixed in transcendental understanding, consciousness platform, unflinching faith, Guru Sadhu and Shastra, Krishna, because they have heard from Krishna in disciplic succession from Purport. That is the Guru's qualification. The Guru, as Krishna says, Krishna's original Guru, Adi Guru, he's Brahma's Guru, Lord Brahma. Who can be a better Guru than Krishna? Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikave. He instructed Brahma, and then Brahma, he instructed Narada, and Narada, he instructed Vyasadeva. And then Vyasadeva gave so much Shastra, so much literature. This is called Parampara system. So we must have heard perfectly in that disciplic succession of Parampara system. That is qualification of Guru, bona fide Guru. So it's said, Atato Brahma Jigyasha, stated in Brahma Sutra, that your life's desires, it should not be directed to a material sense gratification, but rather one should desire a healthy life of self-preservation, since the human being is meant for this inquiry about the biggest plan, the Brahman plan. That's why Prabhupada said, when you make this inquiry from right personality, your life now is beginning. Now you're in a human form of life. That means transcendental inquiry. That is the point of the human form of life, to come to that inquiry, to come to that inquisitiveness for that plan. And nothing else should be the goal of one's works. So if we don't get a better, bigger plan, we're going to be left with our small-minded, narrow, selfish, materialistic plan-making business, which is guaranteed to fail. And it's never worked, and still we don't give it up. So the Bhagavatam, Bhagavata says, Jivasya Tattva Jigyasha. The living entity's only business is to inquire seriously about the absolute truth. Not curious, not entertain me, but serious inquiry into the nature of the absolute truth. That is the point of human form of life. So, ordinary person, they don't understand really what is Dharma, what is Bhakti, Bhakti is Dharma, Dharma is Bhakti. Everyone in India, oh, I'm doing my Dharma. Right? But Sanatan Dharma. How about Sanatan Dharma? Not mother's Dharma, father's Dharma, society Dharma, institution, college, university Dharma, friends Dharma. Right? Real Dharma means Bhakti. Sanatan, Sanatan Dharma means soul Dharma, occupation of the soul. But we don't know what is Dharma, Prabhupada says. What is real Dharma? That is the difficulty. So that you have to learn from Krishna, from the Guru. Atato Brahma Jigyasha. And what does Krishna say? Savadam Mamakam Sharam Vraja. That is Dharma. If someone says, what is Dharma? Then you say, Savadam Mamakam Sharam Vraja. Let's compare our understanding of Dharma. Your friends say you should surrender to your parents. And you're saying to your friend, no, you should surrender to Krishna. Isn't it? So what is the best Dharma? What is the biggest Dharma? Sanatan Dharma. And Prabhupada says, that is Dharma. Sanatan Dharma, Bhakti, that is Dharma. And Prabhupada says, anything else, that is all cheating. Kaitava Dharma. It's not real Dharma. No, you have to worship the demigods, and you have to worship the forefathers, and you have to worship your mother and your father, and you have to worship your teachers, and you have to worship society and the leaders, and this one, that one, isn't it? And if you don't surrender to Krishna, then it's true, you do have to do that. You are obliged to do like that. But it's all cheating. Kaitava Dharma. So Prabhupada says the real Dharma is Savadam, Brijja, Mamakam, Sharanam, Braja. Everything else is cheating. Krishna says reject all of this so-called Dharma because it's materially motivated. Why is it Kaitava Dharma? Because it's materialistic motivation. Bhagavad Purana, profound, highest truth. Thank you. Thank you. You see how complicated life can be? Are we doing all right? Everyone's all right? Yes. I'm not taking or something. Kaitava Dharma. And moksha is another cheating. I'm doing moksha. No, that's also cheating. It sounds very good, right? I'm after moksha. Oh, he's advanced. He doesn't want this materialism. He wants moksha. Ooh. Prabhupada said that is another type of cheating. Just another type of cheating. You cannot become one with Krishna. We are all eternal servants of Krishna. So in this way, Prabhupada says, desires, it cannot be finished. You cannot kill your desires. That is not possible. Therefore, the best thing is fix up your mind in Krishna. What is Krishna's desire? In Krishna consciousness. Then you'll be peaceful. Then you'll be happy. Then you'll be engaged in what is Krishna's plan and what is Krishna's business, and then your planning will become how to satisfy Krishna. So what's your plan, Srinivas?
I want to come back from
Are you planning how to satisfy Krishna?
time.
That is intelligence. So have we given up our material, mental, false ego, Maya plan-making business for our own pleasure? Have we come to the intelligent soul platform to understand what is the biggest plan, what is the Brahman plan, what is Krishna's plan? That is intelligence. Prabhupada said, now you're a human being. Now you've come to human consciousness. Before that, just animal. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Only thought, only everything is for that plan. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. So Krishna, Prabhupada says, wants everyone to surrender unto him. And when he says, Savadnama Prityaja Mamakam Sharanam Braja, he's not only saying that to Arjuna, he's saying that to each and every one of us. So that is Krishna's plan. That is Krishna's desire. And if you want to serve Krishna and fulfill Krishna's desire, that means that you canvas everyone to surrender to Krishna. Of course, if we're not surrendering to Krishna, what is our canvassing? You know, you should surrender to Krishna. Yeah, you should too. That would be great. That's a good advice. You should follow it too, yes. We both should surrender to Krishna. So this is preaching. Krishna wants it. He's coming here to material world. He's speaking Bhagavad Gita. He's coming again as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to save fallen conditioned souls. Otherwise he has no business to come here. So if we take up that work, then Prabhupada said, this is how to get recognized by Guru, Shri Guru Gauranga. This is how to get mercy and blessing. With mercy and blessing, by that work, everything is achieved. What can you do? What can we do by ourselves? So our business is to satisfy Krishna's desire, to fulfill his desire, that everyone should surrender to him, and in that way they'll be healthy and happy and peaceful. So do it. Why don't you do it? So Prabhupada is also convincing us. Prabhupada says we read other day, yesterday, day before, we need to take superior dictation. Our intelligence. We need a higher plan. If the plan is coming from Krishna, that's real intelligence, then that intelligent plan, you can force the mind to work towards that end. If we don't have a higher spiritual plan, there's no way to control the mind by giving it engagement in transcendental, surrendered devotional service. Any question? quick thing is, Prabhupada was saying that you have to go to the school of the Guru. And Prabhupada said, so whenever the student comes, whatever they will bring, that will be cooked and then offered to Krishna, and then the prasadam will be distributed amongst themselves, an ashram. That was the process. Not 20 rupees fee and give some bribe to enter into the school, and that is also rascal education. No, first class education means without any fee.
Without any fees.
You cannot charge anything. You cannot ask them to pay you something. Right? Oh, you want to go to the Kirtan Mela? Yeah. You want to learn yoga, psychology, cooking class. Without first class education means no fee. Prabhupada was laughing, he said, people are so unfortunate, they'll pay thousands of dollars to go to the stadium to hear a lecture on zero. But if you say, come and hear about the absolute truth, Krishna consciousness, and we don't charge you anything, then nobody wants to come. They're so foolish, Prabhupada said. They'll pay thousands of dollars to talk about zero. And Prabhupada says, we're giving the highest information, highest knowledge, highest education, most confidential knowledge. And Prabhupada was proud that we're not charging anybody. Free of charge. That is first class education. So the injunction, final instruction from Prabhupada in this class is one should approach a bona fide Guru, Vaishnava Guru, and take lessons from him, hear from him. And in that way, you can make your life successful. Jai Shri Prabhupada. So, anything? Yes. Have you stopped plan making?
I'm trying.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is from the Bhagavatam. It's I don't understand something here. So Prabhupada is talking about the living entities are always in anxiety.
The people in the material world are always in anxiety?
No, the living entities are always in anxiety.
Yeah.
And Prabhupada says we can get liberation only when the anxiety is changed or directed to the devotional service.
Only when what?
The anxiety is changed or directed to devotional service.
What?
We can only get out of anxiety when we direct our energy towards devotional service.
Yes, when we engage intelligence, mind and senses in surrendering to Krishna, then Krishna purify your mind and your senses and take away your sinful material desires and attachment. Then you become peaceful. Then? Did I understand properly?
Well, I just
Prabhupada's saying you become peaceful when you engage in serious devotional service, surrender to Krishna, right? Is that what you just read?
Prabhupada is saying that liberation or mukti means getting relief from these constant anxieties.
You get relief from constant anxiety when?
And liberation means getting relief from these constant anxieties. And Prabhupada says this is possible only when the anxiety is changed or directed to the devotional service of the Lord.
Then if you surrender to Krishna, Krishna named Hṛṣīkeśa, he's controlling mind and senses. So Krishna said, if you surrender to me, I'll purify your mind and your senses. Then your soul will become liberated. Then you'll be free from mental speculation and plan making under false ego, modes of nature, directed by Maya, which will completely disturb you and will always fail. So without Guru and Krishna's mercy, by our sincere desire to want to understand absolute truth and surrender to Krishna, then how will we give up the strength of these materialistic thoughts and desires and attachments, which are all on gross, subtle, material bodily platform. If you surrender to Krishna and Guru, they will purify all of these thoughts. It says even in your dreams these thoughts will not come to you. So if the false ego is dissolved and purified mind and senses, then the only thing left is soul. Then soul is liberated platform, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. Then you'll be peaceful and happy. Then you'll be free from all material anxiety. As long as we're not surrendering, this Niskapata Seva, service without duplicity. If we run a serious, unsincere devotional service for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, the result will be that they will shower. Krishna says, I'll show special mercy and I'll take away all of these things that are so much disturbing you. So all these sinful thoughts and desires and attachments and haunting Maya, Krishna said, I'll purify you. I'll get rid of all the tamaguna, Rajaguna. Then you come to soul platform, liberated platform. This is Vaishnava platform. So only Vaishnava platform means pure devotee. Only they can be peaceful because they know how to be peaceful by surrendering to Guru and Krishna. So without that association of persons who have that realization, practical realization and faith, who will convince you of that? Who will explain that to you in a way which will give you faith and proper understanding how to do that yourself? Otherwise, it's just some theoretical, philosophical mumbo-jumbo. Right? It must be realized. If realized means Krishna is manifesting there. It's not theoretical. It's faith, absolute faith on soul platform. And only Krishna can give someone that kind of faith and understanding. So if you hear from such personality, by their mercy, they can purify all the ignorance, all the misunderstanding, all of the sentimentality, all of the strength of your desires, material desires, and they'll convince you that it's foolishness to just continue plan making in Maya, with Maya, for Maya, with the end result is suffering, failure. Who will convince you of that? So someone who can get you to desire to stop your plan making because you know it's not working, it never worked, and it never will work. Who can free you from mental speculation of you're trying to figure out what is your plan because they're giving you the faith and intelligence, what is Krishna's plan? Once you have Krishna's plan, and Krishna gives you the intelligence and faith in that plan, then you can give up plan making. It's very practical. You need a plan. We're going to follow someone's plan. So is it going to be Krishna's plan or Maya's plan? And then how do you get Krishna's plan? Who's going to convince you of Krishna's plan for you? Only Guru. Only bona fide Guru can convince you and give you intelligence and faith. Because Krishna will empower his words and instructions to convince your soul that this is what you should do. This is what Krishna wants you to do. And if we don't hear that plan, and we don't agree, that means we're not serious. Then Krishna, he's the witness and the judge, and he says, okay, Maya, just, take charge of this one. Train him up a little more. He's still plan making. Can I plan make a little bit? Sometimes I was saying, I kept thinking like this, that what are you trying to figure out? Krishna already figured it all out. He already knows the plan. He already knows what's best for you. We're thinking, no, I have to figure out what's best for me because nobody will care about me. I have to figure it out. I have to make a plan. Right? Nobody cares about you, really. So that means you have to make the plan. But it just makes sense that, well, what are you trying to figure out? Figuring it out means figuring out what is my plan. But if Krishna already knows the plan and what's best for us, the only real question should be, how do I get Krishna to give me intelligence and faith and understanding in his plan? That's the only question. There's nothing to figure out. It's like the servant, who's in the house and the master says, and he's walking around and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And the master comes, you come to me and I'll tell you what you should buy at the store. There's nothing to figure out. Now, if you already know previously what Krishna wants, and then you already know what you're supposed to do. Then your intelligence, mind, senses, everything should be how to do that seva the best way possible. That's fine. Because it's focused on how to do your devotional service in the best way possible. So when we're trying to figure it out, that means we're acting as own guru. And then when we're acting as own guru, that means we go to our mind, our intellect, and our feelings and emotions, which are all captured by Maya. So we get all the wrong information, the opposite information, the opposite feelings and emotion and intelligence and plan. And we're like, whoa, it sounds good, it's logical, it's practical, based on my experience, this and that. Yeah, okay, I made that mistake, okay, I won't make that mistake again. And then, okay, I'll factor that into that. And whenever I did that, it didn't work. Okay, I'm not going to do that, so now I'll do this, and I'll do, right? We're just doing like this, like moving chess pieces around. Trying to compensate for whatever blunders we made before. Okay, if I can just cut down on the major blunders. You know, if I can eliminate, like, say, 60% of the major blunders, then I'll only have, like, 40% of anxiety left to plan make for. This is for our benefit. Prabhupada said, you know, Krishna doesn't need your service. He's got plenty of very wonderful, loving, eternal, greatest personalities serving him. He's completely Atmaram, meaning completely self-satisfied. He doesn't need our service. We need him to allow us to do that service. So we can somehow reconnect with him. So the only question is, Krishna, what can I do to reconnect with you? A reunion based on devotional service. How can I serve you? Once I understood Krishna is manifesting directly through my Guru, once I got that faith and intelligence by Guru Krishna's mercy, there's only one question left. Well, two. One is, please accept me, and then please instruct me. Please tell me what Krishna thinks is best for me. Because there's unlimited options in the material world. There's unlimited instructions in the Shastra. So which ones of those is meant for me? I don't know. You know Krishna, I don't know Krishna. Krishna is speaking through you. He's obviously not speaking through me. I didn't even know I needed a guru. That's how stupid I am. That's how foolish I am. So now that I got a guru which I didn't know I needed, and now he's a pure medium of Krishna, and Krishna already proved that, Gurudev already proved that, so now, Krishna, if I want to surrender to you, what is the best thing I can do to serve you and please you? That's the only thing left to say. And if we don't come to that, then we're just acting as own guru, making our own plans, and all of that is coming from Maya, in Maya, for Maya, and it's completely disconnected from Krishna and Krishna Parampara and Shastra, Guru Sarva Shastra. So there's nothing spiritual about it. Because the Guru, bona fide Guru, is connecting us in Sambandha Gyan, means that connection, relationship with Krishna is established. by the mercy of bona fide Guru, Krishna, true representative. It says once you get the association of bona fide Guru of Krishna, Parampara, and he gives you seva, and you faithfully accept it and execute it, that means that your relationship with Krishna is now established. Now it's established. Now you follow the instructions, general specific instructions, abhideya. This is the means, the process of purifying, qualifying, learning, all the subtleties of spiritual life, especially how to become a pure devotee and chant Shuddhanam. Then you'll get Krishna Prema, Prayojana Tattva. Then you get Krishna. Then you go back home, back to Godhead. Then you get everything. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana.
Yes.
So if we'll not accept Krishna's instruction through bona fide Guru, there is no connection with Krishna. Krishna has not accepted you. And if you are sincere, crying to Krishna, want to serve Krishna, want to surrender to Krishna, want to develop love for Krishna, then he'll send you to bona fide Guru. And that Guru will connect you and qualify you in practical devotional service. That's now you're running on Krishna's plan. Without that, we don't know what is Krishna's plan. That means if you don't know what is Krishna's plan, and Krishna didn't convince you inside or out through the Guru, then automatically that means you're running on Maya's plan. So what are you calling spiritual? Makes sense? Any questions? Anybody? No? Okay. Anybody else? Yeah?
So now then, like, I was wondering this thing, like it says, like in the heavenly planets, they have like better intelligence, and they follow like the Vedic culture, but also because of there's like better enjoyment, then they don't surrender to Krishna. So if they have better intelligence, they can understand like.
What's he say?
Is it the Brahmanas have better intelligence?
No, the planets. Like in the heavenly planets, like they have better intelligence.
In the heavenly planets, people have better intelligence, so why are they not surrendering to Krishna?
Too much sense gratification.
But if they have better intelligence, then they
They
can
have too
understand.
much sense gratification, they're enjoying too much. So they're not able to become pure devotee. They're devoted, but not pure devotee. But this planet, there's so much suffering here. So the suffering is intolerable for one who realizes they're suffering. Then that suffering will force us to surrender to Krishna. Then we'll give up all this material desire, material attachment, sense gratification. That's why. That's my understanding. Anybody else? Yeah. Did we answer your question first time? Right? Yeah? Are you sure? Completely answered it?
Yes, I understand. Yes, you also say that we should engage in a higher, we should have a higher engagement. Yes.
Higher what?
We need a higher engagement, a better plan.
Yeah.
So,
Krishna's plan.
So we can overcome the this anxiety.
So we can overcome our anxieties, we need a better plan. We need a better plan.
Yeah. Because Krishna says without surrendering to me, even if you're karmic, jnani, yogi, they're not peaceful either. What to speak of ordinary person who's not even a karmic, jnani or yogi, right? They're not peaceful at all. Prabhupada's material life means so much anxiety, so much disturbance. But you have to be smart enough to realize, I'm so disturbed, I'm so unhappy, I'm so dissatisfied. This is intolerable condition. Prabhupada said, if you realize you have a serious problem, uncontrolled mind and senses, dissatisfied mind and senses, that's a serious problem. Because it's the root of why we can never be happy. Is that not a problem? That something's not allowing you to be happy? It's not a small problem. So Krishna says, if you learn, if you surrender to me, then I'll destroy all of these things that's disturbing your mind. Whatever it is. So it's a question of surrender. Krishna says, if you surrender to me, I'll release you from Maya. So without Krishna sending Guru, how will we understand Krishna's instruction of what he will accept as our surrender? Right, so if you say, okay, Krishna, I want to surrender to you. I want to get out of Maya. I've had it. Now, what do you want me to do? What surrender do you want from me? What service do you, what is my service? Please tell me. So now how's Krishna going to tell you? Through the Guru. Then when you faithfully accept that instruction, see what result you get. Immediately, your anxiety will start to go away from you. Immediately you become more purified, peaceful mind and senses. It doesn't have to take a long time. Even immediately you'll get the relief. If we can let that kata, Krishna, enter inside, but if the mind is so disturbed, Krishna cannot enter inside to that sound. That's the problem. So therefore Prabhupada says, just give them prasadam. Then Krishna prasadam, Jagannath prasadam, that will also purify the mind, the mad mind. I always say, thank God for prasadam. Prasadam made us a devotee, right? Carob, peanut butter, halava made me a devotee. Preach to me. Once I ate that halava, I'm a soul surrendered unto you, Krishna. Isn't it? Could we possibly do divine austerity without Krishna prasadam? Let's be honest. Isn't prasadam keeping us here? So Prabhupada, he gave very short classes because he understood their consciousness is so polluted, they won't really be able to understand it. So he's just making prasadam for them, just keep eating prasadam, then Harinam, Kirtan, chanting Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada mostly he's chanting Hare Krishna, and he's giving them prasadam, a little bit philosophy, then he purified the consciousness. Then once this tamagun, rajagun, all of this heavy thickness of contamination starts to disappear, then we start to wake up. Our consciousness starts to wake up. Then we'll be able to understand more and more from a philosophical point of view. This is the process, right? The treatment program. Prabhupada said that Krishna Katha, Krishna Nam is medicine. From bona fide guru, doctor. Guru is sadhu vaidya, like a doctor, spiritual doctor. And he has a nice medicine, and that katha will nicely purify, cleanse your mind, your consciousness. And then diet, Jagannath Prasad, Krishna Prasad. Prabhupada said this is expert treatment program to purge the mad mind.
Oh.
It's treatment program. We're in a rehabilitation center.
Yes.
Yeah, we're in the rehab. Going to the rehab. So?
Okay, Maharaj, you were saying before about the adhikari. You were talking that we should.
What about what?
You were talking before about adhikar.
Yeah, qualification.
We have to understand our lack of qualification, so we don't expect something that we cannot do.
No. Without the guru, you cannot understand your adhikar.
Oh, I don't understand what is exactly adhikar.
In other words, without purified mind and intelligence, we cannot properly analyze ourselves. Because our pride tells us that we're something more. And the false ego covers what is the reality. So if we're covered and the pride is telling us we're more than, then we will not have a proper calibration of our actual spiritual position, consciousness, nature. That's why we need a guru. So the guru, he knows what is Krishna's intention for everybody. And the guru knows in whose ear that katha is going. Just like good doctor, he knows who's taking the medicine, he knows who's not taking the medicine. Sometimes the doctor gives you medicine and you just put it in pocket, say, I don't want to take it. And then you come back and he looks at you and you say, you didn't take the medicine. One devotee recently, he was very disturbed. And I was trying to explain all subtleties to him. He could not understand what I was saying. He was even like surprised, like, why Maharaj is saying like this? I don't understand why Maharaj is saying like this. So then I realized he's in such a bad consciousness. His consciousness is so contaminated. He cannot even closely understand the subtleties of that spiritual topic. So I told him, you just chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, cry before the Lord, cry to Krishna, please Krishna, purify my mind and senses so I can understand this thing. And then I said, we'll talk in the morning, right? So then I came down the stairs and I was hopeful that he chanted and then he purified his mind, senses a little bit. Then I took one look at him and he was in worse condition in his consciousness. So I said, did you chant? Now I asked him, because I know he didn't. I said, did you chant? I asked you to chant nicely and cry before Krishna, and pray to Krishna so that I could explain everything to you today? He said, no, not really. I said, I know. Because I can see by your consciousness you didn't do it. So now, when I say like this, you're going to take it like that. You'll take an opposite way. You'll misunderstand everything I said. Then how can anybody explain anything to you if you're in such materialistic consciousness, such contaminated consciousness? It's impossible. I said even Krishna, if he came here, he couldn't convince you either if you're in this type of consciousness. So if we don't agree with the treatment program, and we don't participate, cooperate, then we're not going to get well. It's as simple as that. We're not going to get out of trouble. We're not going to give up this mental speculation. Mental speculation means mistake. It means already you don't know. If you're thinking, the answer would just come to you, right? So if the answer is not coming to you by all of your mental speculation, it means you still don't know. So if you just do more mental speculation, then you'll come to know? Like somehow your mental speculation will purify itself and then some absolute truth will pop out of that? Right? You just rub enough mental speculation together and then boom, absolute truth pops out, you know? You know, so if it didn't work in the first moment, first minute, it's not going to work in the next 100 years. Make sense? Because the process is wrong. Right? People are just like rubbing their head. Sometimes I ask a question and they're just like, I'm like, I don't care how much you rub your head, you're not going to get an absolute answer. You can massage your head. Right? Okay, let me get an absolute answer out of here. Come on, man. Spit something out. Give me something good. Maybe if I lay down.
Upside down, headstand.
Maybe if I'm on the mountain. Maybe if I'm in the water. Maybe if I'm in the forest. Right? Let me change my position. Maybe it's like a frequency. Like I know I'm not getting a connection from the tower. You know? I'm not close enough to the tower. Yeah, you're in a steel box of the material mind. You've taken up residence in the steel box. And you're like, I don't know why I can't get a connection. Nothing good's coming. Just like static, you know? And then we're such speculators, we'll start interpreting what the static means. Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's not ordinary static. Especially after you smoke something. That static was talking. That static telling me you can't believe the bigger plan that I got out of that static. Right? And then Krishna's like, you don't have to listen to the static. You just have to ask me and I'll tell you, you know what I mean? Static not required. You know, it's like Krishna, what's it like some spy, you know, he'll give you the information, but you have to decode it somehow and understand what does that static mean. You think that's how Krishna's going to tell you? Can't he just tell you to your face? Is Krishna not capable of doing that? Definitely he can do it. We just don't, Prabhupada said, you just don't know how to do it. You don't know the means to hear it. Because you're too much speculative, plan making. And you won't give it up. Because we're too attached to our plans. That's why many times people came to my Gurudev and they're like, Gurudev, can I do like this and this and this and that? And Gurudev said, yes, great. And then we're like, why would Gurudev tell them to do like that? And then Gurudev would say, they already made up their mind. They're already going to do it. Okay, do it. So rather than getting kripa, then you get the vanchana. You get the cheating. So if we want to cheat, we get cheated. Krishna said, you know, Prabhupada says, you know, you're getting what you deserve. Good?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Krishna, this happened to me, what you just said.
Is what?
This happened to me, what you just said, this happened to me.
What, in the box with the static?
Yeah, and I was like trying to
With some psychedelic manipulation?
yeah, I mean.
Were you talking to God? No?
Jimmy Hendrix.
You're talking to the devil. Talking to the demon.
Yeah, I was being led by Maya.
Huh?
She said I was being led by
I
Maya.
thought you were saying you were brought up by Maya. Yeah. How did that go? Was that a nice ride?
No.
You want to get off that ride?
Yeah.
You got to get on Krishna's ride.
Yeah.
He's got a better ride.
Yeah. It's not so zigzag.
Yeah. It's more safe.
Yeah.
Less danger.
Yeah.
More peace.
Yeah.
More peaceful. He's a responsible driver. So now you know what you don't want. Now you know what didn't work. Right? So now, that's also helpful. Now I know what I don't want to do. Now I know what didn't work. Now I know what is the cause of my suffering. I need a better engagement. I need a better plan. Something to stay busy. Because it says, I don't mind devil's workshop. So if we're just sitting there long enough, we're like, Maya will be like, well, this person's looking for something to hear, you know? I'll fill in, you know? By Krishna, Guru already told us everything. So if we don't accept that, then we're like basically saying, any better offers? Right? Krishna telling, Guru telling, Shastra telling, right? And then we're not accepting that. Means we're just going to Maya saying, well, how do you counter that, Maya? Right? So we're like negotiating, you know, who's got a better plan with Krishna.
I want to apologize that I didn't take what you said to me to heart and I didn't have the maturity to follow your instructions. as it is.
I want to apologize to Gurudev for not taking your instruction to heart and following it properly.
When we do it, when we follow the instruction with a simple heart, sincere way, taking shelter of the instructions, then you get mercy of Guru Krishna. It's undeniable. And when we don't do it, because we're stupid, we're lazy, we're rascal, we're rebellious, we're foolish, we're just addicted to mental speculation, then we get other results. Then it doesn't work. Then now no shelter, no protection, mind disturbed, contaminated consciousness, no peace, no happiness. It doesn't work. So then you just have to be reminded to take shelter of the instructions. Taking shelter of the instructions means taking shelter of Krishna, means surrendering to Krishna. The Guru's instructions are what Krishna is expecting from us as our conscious, willing, cooperative effort to follow his instructions that we receive through the Guru. And if it's genuine and sincere and serious, Guru Krishna, immediately you'll get relief. Doesn't have to take a long time. Immediately. As soon as you accept it, and you're humble, you realize your mistake, and you rededicate yourself to take shelter of those instructions to try to please Guru Krishna, now you're in the solution. Now you're on your way to solving the problem. If we deny it, because we listen to the stupid mind, we overthink it, we'll overanalyze it, we twist it around, we misunderstand it. One time I asked my Guru, I said, Gurudev, when Juga Maharaj, when he had material desires, so wasn't the mother said to go to the forest. Then he found his Guru there. So then Narada Muni, he was testing him. How serious is this person? And then I asked my Gurudev, when the Guru is giving instruction to the disciple, is he just testing you? Or is it really what Krishna wants? And my Gurudev, he said, you see, it's already so difficult for you to understand it. So just whatever he said, just do that. Oh, maybe he meant this and that, maybe he's testing me, maybe he wanted me to do some other thing, right? We'll just talk ourselves out of a simple, straightforward instruction by Maya doing this mental speculation trip. And I'm so grateful that I asked that question, because it simplified that I should just follow the instruction. To the best of my ability, that will please my Guru, that will please Krishna, I get their mercy, that solves all of my problems. And when we do it, it solves all of our problems. And when we're overthinking it, and we're twisting it around, and we're misunderstanding it, and we're talking us, well, maybe he meant this and that, and we just completely just talked ourselves out of a simple, straightforward instruction. And then when you get messed up, and the Guru says, how you got messed up? You know, Prabhupada says the secret of success in spiritual life is make the instructions of your Guru your life and your soul. And just dedicate yourself to those instructions. That's the secret of success. How to get mercy from Guru Krishna. Make it your life and your soul. And when we get messed up, it's because we didn't make those instructions our life and our soul. That means there's no shelter from Maya. That consciousness is completely messed up. And I said, were you following all the instructions? You made the instructions your life and your soul? That you're in this kind of consciousness? And then they say, well, what were my instructions? Can you remind me of what my instructions were? So Krishna says, you have to get a clear understanding of the instructions. Whatever it takes for you to get a very clear, straightforward, crystal clear understanding of Krishna's instruction, that's what you have to be greedy for. Because if you don't understand it, and it's not properly explained to you, how are you going to make that your life and your soul? Well, I have this general idea of what he probably wants, and I've made this general idea of hopefully what he probably wants, my life and my soul. No. It doesn't work like that. It's much more scientific. Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness is an exacting science. Prabhupada, an exacting science. That's absolute truth, means exacting science. No speculation, no imagination, all on false ego platform. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe here, maybe there. Means you don't know. So what is scientific about that groping in the darkness and speculating? Means you don't know. That's why there's only two questions. Will you accept me, Gurudev? And will you instruct me what Krishna wants me to do? If we are not coming to that understanding, that this is Krishna's way that he's going to instruct us, there is nothing spiritual about what we think we're doing. It's just sentimental, emotional, artificial, mechanical, speculative, guessing game. Nothing scientific about that process. Yeah?
I'm sorry for being such a rascal.
Don't be a rascal. Be a devotee. Stop being a rascal.
Can I please?
If we're rascal, we're going to get punished. You'll be miserable. You like getting punished and being miserable? Then don't be a rascal. Be simple and just take the instructions. Just follow it.
Can I please?
Huh?
Can I please ask for clarification so I can stop mental speculating in general?
Write it down. Write it down. Carve it into your heart like a knife in the wood. Right? That's what it means, make it your life and your soul. If you get a clear understanding from Krishna through the Guru, then carve it into the wood and just do it. That's the only place your shelter will come. That's the only protection from Maya. That's only freedom from mental disturbance and mental speculation. It's only freedom from material desire. If we don't do that, then it's all Maya.
Is it okay if I ask you to tell me specifically right now, or?
Oh, what?
Is it okay for me to ask you specifically right now, what's my instructions? What's my specific service?
Probably not. But I told you that I'll meet with you and your husband, right?
Okay,
And we'll finalize everything. We'll make it as clear as possible, as simple as possible.
thank you.
We're very complicated people. That's why I say we have made a bit of a mess. To say it lightly. We have created chaos. So the Guru has to make it really simple. Right? So there's no room. Like you can't mess this up. It's like Guru Tattva for dummies, you know? Right? Tattva Vichara 101
Yes.
for the dummies.
Yes.
That's us. My Gurudev gave very complex, highest transcendental information in the most simplified essence.
Yes. Yes.
He made it understandable, simplified it, and said, this should be your focus.
Yes.
Make this your secret of success. That's why I always feel, I told the devotees, you know, if you find the places where Prabhupada says, what are the secrets of success in spiritual life? Right? So if you understand 80% of the secrets of success, you're already, you just do that and solve 80% of your problem, isn't it? The details you can figure out later. Just like you see in business or someone who's successful, right? They write their books, you know, 10 steps, 12 steps of the most important things, secret of success. If you just focus on those, it gives you the best possible chance of being successful. Any knowledge. So this is also spiritual knowledge. So what are the secrets of success? So without faith in Krishna, without faith in Shri Guru, how can you make those instructions your life and your soul? You have to absolutely have faith that those instructions from Krishna came through that Guru, and that instruction is absolutely perfect for me. If you do not have that kind of faith and intelligence, by the mercy of Krishna, mercy of the Guru, you cannot make those instructions your life and your soul. And if you cannot make those instructions your life and your soul, there is no chance of getting free from mental speculation and material plan making. Those are the two options. Is that simple enough? What do you think? Good? Yeah? Does that help you? So one step at a time? Right? The doctor says, okay, here, first take this medicine. Let's see how that works. Then you come back, it's okay. Now we'll adjust your program a little bit. Now take this, that, do this, that, right? This is a gradual process. Step by step. And unless one is authorized by Krishna, Guru Parampara, unless they have practical, scientific faith and realization, how can they be a guru? They'll just be speculator. Well, let's try this. Have you tried this? Have you thought of that? Right? We're suffering because of mental speculation. The last thing you want to do is go to another mental speculator. Well, he's a better mental speculator than I am. Okay, so his speculation was more creative, complex, technical, but it's still Maya. It's still going to fail. Don't we need a plan that is guaranteed not to fail? Why are we not interested for that plan? That means we need Krishna's plan. We're nervous because Prabhupada said, you don't trust Krishna. Well, I don't know what he's going to tell me. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can handle it. I don't know if I can surrender. I remember one time my godbrother, he was going back to France. And then he went to Gurudev and said, Gurudev, what is my instructions? And Gurudev said, every day you just read one shloka from the Bhagavad Gita. And I was so amazed because Gurudev giving exactly the right instruction, the right prescription according to what that person can actually understand and do. Expert. Because he's depending on Krishna. Krishna knows exactly what we can do and not do, what we're willing to do and not willing to do. He's expert. Krishna is expert. You're not going to, because then you'll fail. Why would he set you up for failure? That makes no sense. Prabhupada said, you have to learn how to trust Krishna. Your problem is you're not trusting Krishna. And what is the proof of that is that you're acting as your own guru. Because you think you know what is best for you. But Prabhupada says, has it ever worked? Are you happy with the results? Okay, after 50 years of being your own guru, how well did it work? Let's rate it. Let's take a scientific analysis and then say, okay, how did I do? Am I happy with my results? Did any of my plans really work? That's why I always say, we need a better plan. And Prabhupada said, you need the biggest plan. You need the soul plan. That's more than the platinum plan. That's the soul plan. That's the transcendental plan. That's the Brahman plan. What's the Brahman plan? Any other questions or points? Step by step. Step by step.
I just was hearing Mataji, she was also apologizing, so I felt I should also apologize.
I was just hearing Mataji, and she was apologizing, so I felt I should also apologize.
We should all apologize to Krishna for being stupid rascals and not listening to him and not cooperating with him. Our whole life is an apology, an embarrassment. If you really want to be honest, what are we proud about? What is our claim to fame? Uncontrolled mind and senses, sinful activities, hundreds, thousands of times sinful activities. What do we have to be proud about? Think about it. Feel it. Realize it. What do we think we know? How well did our plans work? But pride, false ego, no, I know. I know what is best for me. Nobody can tell me. That's why when I went to Bhubaneswar, I was riding around on a motorcycle, a spiritual wonderland. I thought I was like in the safari park. I was going in during the day and watching the elephants and the tigers and doing a little sadhu sangha. Having a good old time for myself. Then one day Gurudev said, you know that your life doesn't belong to you anymore. And I was like, wow, that's a pretty heavy statement. My life no longer belongs to me anymore. Wow. Okay. He said, yeah, because now you belong to the Guru. Wow. Now I belong to this person I just met recently, and my life doesn't belong to me anymore. Okay, that's getting interesting now. This looks like some serious conversation. Now he's talking. And then he said, and you have to be prepared to die for that Guru. My holiday was over. The spiritual safari was done. The elephant watching was no more. Now, that's if you want Krishna Prema. If you want to get out of Maya and you want Krishna Prema, this is what he's promising to do. This is how he's going to help you to achieve that. Now, if you're not interested in that, and you want some guru who just let you do whatever you want, and you act independently, and you just... Sometimes people are doing crazy things, and I said, does your guru know? What are you doing? And most of the times they say, not really, he's too busy. Or they'll say, well, I told him. Wow. So you want that kind of guru? You're just getting rubber stamps on your mental speculative material plan making. That's another story. That's also available. And if you think of it from an absolute platform, Krishna is saying, nobody is independent from me. You don't belong to yourself. Your body, your mind, your soul belongs to Krishna. But Maya, we think, no, I belong to myself, I'm independent, I can do what I want, think what I want, come and go, this, that, right? I, me, mine. But that's not a fact. This body is Krishna's energy. Krishna created it. He's the controller of that energy. That super soul is controlling this body. He's giving intelligence and strength. If he doesn't give you intelligence and strength, you're deaf, dumb, and blind, and you're just like a paraplegic. You have a stroke. Can't do anything. So yes, the body, mind, soul doesn't belong to us. It belongs to Krishna. And then we're supposed to cooperate with what is Krishna's plan for this soul, for this body, for this mind. How does he want to engage me in his seva? And how serious are we about doing it? That's the only question. So this is you know, Prabhupada said this is not child's play. It's not child's play conversation. This is not meant for the children. Prabhupada said this is meant for intelligent, wise, serious people. But Prabhupada said hardly anybody is that serious. But anyway, if you are, Prabhupada says, Krishna will make arrangements to help you how to go back to Godhead. So the Guru, Prabhupada says, he knows psychophysical nature. He knows what is Krishna's plan for you. We don't know. We think we know. Because we say, okay, according to what I think is my nature, right? Everyone's trying to analyze what is my psychophysical nature, what has worked, what hasn't worked, logically, practically, what is best case scenario, when do I function at my best, when do I function at my best. That's how we're coming to our conclusion. Let me think back. When was I the most peaceful and happy? What were those conditions? Who were the people that were there? What were my activities? And we're trying to recreate some scenario because we had a glimpse of some kind of peace or happiness. And we're living in a life trying to recreate that movie scene where we remembered some kind of glimpse of reasonableness or so-called happiness. Does that help you to understand?
We can still do the work of try to recognize how we are reacting, how we are behaving towards the devotees, recognize our mistakes. We have to do a kind of work with it. So at some point we have to...
But to analyze all of that, you need perfect knowledge and perfect consciousness. And you have to understand what is perfect motivation. So without the right instruments and consciousness and measuring instrument and motivation, how we really analyze it accurately. Because your senses thinks it looks like this, and your mind is telling, I think it's like this, and your feelings and emotions are feeling like this. So that's how I came to my conclusion. So you can't trust it. So if that intelligence, mind, and senses is not giving you the right information for yourself, then how will that work analyzing anything else externally? So say you act nicely towards somebody and they reciprocate nicely, right? Sometimes they say so I saw somebody has a dog, right? And the people, they love their dog so much that they're this is like a person, right? And then they're just reading everything into what is this dog thinking and how he's relating with me, and they're just imagining all of this other thing. And then it just comes down to that they just so much want some food and some shelter, right, that they're willing to do anything because of their animalistic instinct. But they say, no, he loves me so much, and he's, right? So they're reading into it, but scientifically they said, no, it's just because he's acting on animalistic instincts. You are his protector, you are feeding him, you are taking care of him, right? You're doing everything to protect his animalistic instinct. So therefore it says, those who are satisfying your senses, you're considering them your friend. Who's facilitating your sense gratification, he's my friend. And who's not satisfying your senses and giving you sense gratification, he's my enemy. So if somebody speaks the truth to you and it's very painful and unpalatable, we'll think, oh, this person is ill-behaved, not cultured person, he doesn't know how to deal with people. It's unpalatable, right? We won't analyze that this person just spoke the unpalatable truth to me and cut into my false ego and corrected me, and that's actually Guru and Krishna's arrangement. So what is our analysis? What is the basis of our measurement and analysis? Is it from an absolute platform or is it from a false ego platform? That's why you can't trust it.
That's why we commit mistakes.
That's why we're making mistakes.
Because it says material consciousness means we make mistakes, we have imperfect senses, we have cheating propensity, and the other one?
Tendency to be an illusion.
And we're in illusion. So if you're in illusion, making mistakes, you have a cheating propensity in imperfect senses, then what is the meaning of your analysis? What is the value of your analysis? How do you come with all material qualities and process and try to screw out an absolutely perfect understanding and answer? It's not possible. And then you throw in sentimentality. We're very sentimental. Right? And then we're fault finders, so we're finding faults where there isn't a fault. So those are all the reasons why we're not the best judge of ourselves or anybody else. So Krishna Guru will say, this is your actual level of consciousness, this is your actual level of intelligence, this is actually your level of qualification, this is what you can do and not do according to that body, that psychophysical nature, that mind, that intelligence that you have. So with all of that, taking all of that into consideration, this is most appropriate service that you can do. Now, if we could understand all of that, then we don't need a guru. Right? If we could figure all of that out properly by Krishna's intelligence, why do we need a guru? The fact that Krishna says you need a guru means we can't understand it properly. That's why I say, Om Jnana Tamarandasha, Gananjana Shalakaya, Chakshuplitam Jana Tasmai Shri. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, Tamagun. contaminated mind and senses, groping in the dark. And somehow, by Krishna's mercy, he sent my spiritual master, and by the mercy of my spiritual master, he purified me. He purified my mind, my senses, my intelligence, so that I could begin to understand things absolutely, properly. He opened my darkened eyes. He gave me spiritual vision, spiritual ears. So until Krishna says, I give you divine eyes, until Krishna and Guru give you divine eyes and divine ears and spiritual mind and senses, what are we going to analyze? And why do we put so much stock or faith in that analysis and that conclusion? It's coming from Maya, in Maya, materially motivated by Maya, under all material modes of nature, with materialistic demoniac qualities. We're going to analyze all of this thing with the damba, pride, and arrogance, and conceited nature, and lust, and greed, and jealousy, and enviousness, illusion, madness. What is the meaning of our measuring propensity? That's why we shouldn't trust it. That's why Prabhupada said you should trust Krishna. And wherever Krishna is manifesting because you're trusting him, if you can hear Krishna inside and out and through the Shastra, that's the only thing that can be trusted. That's the only thing that should be heard, Prabhupada said. Otherwise, every other thing is coming from Maya, is Maya, is a kaitava dharma. So wherever we can hear Krishna, whatever that association, whatever that faith, that intelligence is coming to us, that should be our priority. Then we have the best chance at hearing absolute truth and not hearing Maya. That's the only place that you can find to not hear Maya. Isn't it? Who else is speaking like that? Everybody? You know a lot of people speaking like that? Where are you from?
I'm from near Agra.
Where is it?
Agra.
Delhi. Almost Delhi.
Near Delhi?
Yeah.
Ah. Thank you for listening nicely, I appreciate it. Anybody else? Don't you love these long classes? Isn't it draining? Is it draining you? The thing is, we need a lot of spiritual medicine. And it's like we're in the battlefield. There's not a lot of time. You know, it's like when everyone's blown up on the battlefield, they say, okay, you know, which ones probably can make it? And then they rush over there and give them as much medicine, treatment as possible. And then after that, if they have time, energy, some extra medicine, they say, okay, let's go try to see if we can save this guy. Right? So whoever's the most needy and the most greedy, they get the first help. And those who think, I'm fine, everything's all right, I get it all figured out, no problem. Then, okay, figure it out, no problem. Needy and greedy. Huh?
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Exactly. Okay, thank you everybody for your kind time and attention, and for allowing me to speak some things that also very beneficial for me to hear as well. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Shishi Gornitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gaur Govinda Swami Srila Gurudeva ki, Srila Gaur Das Babaji Maharaj ki, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki, Gaur Premanande.
Shri Gurudev